Hi, this is Ryan from the Kern River Fly Shop and the Buhler Brothers. My fly time video today is going to be on the Elk Hair Caddis. Back in 1957, Al Troth blessed us with creating one of the greatest dry flies ever made. And since then, it's become just countless fly fishers' favorite fly, including me at certain times. Great thing about the caddis, or the Elk Hair Caddis, you can change its size and its color really easily. All great flies have that in them. This is a size 16. Rob and I fish it from 12 down to 20 in olives, grays, different shades of brown. Some people like black also. Our most popular sizes are 16 and 18s in shades of olives and shades of brown. And today I'm going to do a size 14's the one I'm going to tie. We'll get our hook in here. There we go. It's a dry fly, standard size 14 dry fly hook. You want to use dry fly hooks all the time when any top water bugs, because they're a little thinner and it'll help you float a little bit more. But you also have to realize that they're a little weaker, so when you're tying them, make sure you give them good support. Don't crank down on them too much like that. I always hold my finger in here whenever I'm getting really ready to crank down on it. I'm going to start. My thread today is a Vivas 10-aught. I've been liking the Vivas a lot in the smaller sizes. It has 10, 12, and even 16-aught. 6.0 or an 8-aught uni thread or a 70 denier ultra thread would work also. I'm going to come in right at the 50% mark and get our thread secured. We'll cut off our tag end here. There we go. I'm going to bring my thread up to the 75 or the 80% mark. We're going to leave the rest of this nice and clean because that's where we're going to tie in our head at the end, our deer hair wing. We'll bring our thread to the back, get a little thread base going. And our first material we're going to tie in is a rib wire. This is the way Al Troth did it back in the day. The rib wire gives the hackle a little support, makes it a little more durable. Let's see, we'll start this right on top here. And we'll tie it to the back. A lot of people nowadays will just tie their hackle in the back and leave the wire out, and it works real well. I like to put the wire in because it just makes the fly more durable. And when you're on a good bite and the fish are smashing your fly, the last thing you want is for it to come undone. So just that little bit of durability is really nice, I think. And then our next material is going to be our dubbed body. One thing with your dry flies, you want to make sure you use a dubbing that doesn't absorb water. This is a olive brown superfine, and it's a synthetic, so it does a great job of not absorbing water, so I use it on a lot of my dry flies. Again, you can use browns, grays, olives. It's good to check on your water and capture a few caddis and see what color they are, and then you can match it. I'm going to come in with my dubbing. I'm going to start with just a little bit. We don't want too fat a body, but we want to build up a little bit of a taper. So it's better when dubbing to put a little bit on and add instead of have to take it away. There we go. We'll start with this and see how that goes. I'm going to start right at the very back. And I'll slowly work my way forward. And as I get about halfway, I'm going to wrap back one, come forward two. Wrap back one, forward two, back one, forward two, and I'm running out of a little dubbing. So I'll put a little bit more on there, not a lot because I'm right at the end. See how that does. One, back two, and we go forward, back, and right there's our end. And that gives us a little bit of a tapered body. Again, we don't want too fat of a body. One of the most common things that we do wrong as tires is we put too much material on. Start with a thinner body. A lot of the natural bugs are thinner, even though they look big on the water. When you actually capture them and look at them, you'll notice how slender a lot of their bodies are. From here, next thing we got to do is put on a hackle. I have a whiting grizzly saddle here. You can use grizzly, browns, or duns. My favorite are the grizzlies and the browns. I use them most often. This is a size 14 hook. My hackle is a size 16 hackle, and it might even be just a little smaller than 16. I like to undersize my hackle so when I put it on that it goes right to the hook, the gape of the hook down at the bottom, and not farther. If I was using a size 14, it would stretch pretty far past that hook point. And the reason I like the shorter hackles, it sits in the water a little more down in the water like the natural bugs, and it also on the caddis and your stimmies, it doesn't tend to roll as much. If you have really big hackle, your fly will tend to roll around on that. It doesn't sit properly on the water. So try undersizing your hackle a little bit on your stimmies and your elk hairs. I'm going to come in. I already got a little point prepared. You have a shiny side of your hackle and the dull side. Have the shiny side facing towards you when you tie it in. I'm going to put 2, maybe 3 securing wraps in there, or loose wraps. And then here's where we're going to crank down. Make sure you support your hook and pull straight down. And when I'm really going down, I want to tighten really down a lot. I will pull straight down. You notice my bobbin is hanging straight down. And I'll pull straight down with it instead of having it turned where it's putting pressure and an angle on my thread. When you create those angles, it creates a weak point, and your thread's going to break more than if you have it hanging down or going straight up where you're just pulling on the thread itself. So try that when you're securing in materials and you really want to get it in there. Pull straight down and you'll see how much stronger your thread is than you think it is. Okay, here we go. We're going to take our hackle, and you can use hackle pliers or your fingers if it's big enough. I'm going to do 2 wraps right at the beginning, and then I'll start working my way back in spiral wraps. And when I come up on this side, I'll lean it back, and then as I get to the top, I come back straight, bring my hackle down, side, up, straight down on the back, up, straight down, over and up, straight down. And you'll see you can get that nice spiral wrap that way. And it'll help you get nice even wraps. When we get to the back, you're going to hold your hackle in your left hand, grab the wire. Sorry, got out of focus there for a second. We're going to come up over the top with our wire right on top of that hackle. And it'll secure that hackle in there, and then we'll start wrapping forward the same way we did with our hackle, but we're going to come counter wrapping our wire to secure that hackle in. And those hackle fibers will just move right out of your way a lot of times, but if they're getting trapped, just wiggle it back a little bit and work your way through. Nice even spiral wraps all the way to the front. And then when you get to the front, you're going to pull those hackles back out of the way and do 2 wraps over your wire. Come in, support that hook, pull straight down. There we go. And that'll really cinch in that material. Get rid of your wire. Again, don't use your scissors because they'll dull them real quick. Now we have our hackle and back we need to get rid of. Instead of coming in and trying to cut, get your blade in there, pull right against it. Let's see, there we go. I'll come from the other side. Now you can see it. Come right against it and just pull that hackle against it, and it'll cut it right off real nice and clean. And you don't have to go in there chopping material away. Now the next material that we're going to put in is some crystal flash. Try using crystal flash under your wing of your caddis and your stimulators. It gives it a nice sheen, and for some reason the fish just really like it a lot more. And since we've been using it years ago, our takes increased dramatically with it. Do a little fold-in method here of your crystal flash. And it's funny how one little material can make such a difference, but it really has. So I'm going to pull it right down on top of that hook shank. Come in with your thread. Do 2 or 3 wraps. And then come in and really secure it in there. Right on top, nice like that. And grab our crystal flash. I'm going to cut it right back at the bend of the hook. That's right where the wing's going to go to. And so basically you're just creating a little underwing of crystal flash. And you can come in, pull that hackle back if you really want to, and get it really secured in there. There you go. Nice. Now our last material is our wing, some elk hair. One thing when you're picking out elk hair, make sure that your hide is pliable. It's not all dried out. That's usually an indication that your hair is really good also. We're going to pick off a clump. In one of our next videos, Rob and I are going to talk about how we select bucktail and all our elk hair and deer hair. That's coming up real quick. I think this weekend we're going to do it. So keep an eye out for that. It's be real useful tips on how we select our materials. So I get a clump of elk hair, a little bit bigger than you think you're going to need, and we'll grab it with our left hand by the tips and pull out all that under fur and all the other loose elk hair fibers in there. Do that 3 or 4 times to get all that material out. There we go. Now we got it nice and clean. We're going to take it. We're going to take our hair stacker. One nice hair stacker here. Have it where you can pull it apart. A little simple one. Doesn't have to be big. And put your wing in there. Your wing material. Just give it a few taps on top of your desk. Come back. Hold it up straight across and slowly pull that top piece out. There you go. And you'll have all your ends nice and even. You'll be able to grab them with your left hand, pull it out, and then you can change to your right hand, and you can see how really nice that wing is there. I like to have this. The toughest part is judging how much hair to put in for your wing. I'll come in. I like to do about the hook gape's worth, and you can see this is a little bit more. So I'll come and take some of that out of there. And it's kind of better to have a little bit more on your elk hair caddis. Make the wing look really full and like it's fluttering on the water. And it really helps attract the fish. So come in, we'll do 1 hook length. I'll come in and measure. And I'll come in, pinch it right there with my left hand. Come in and I will cut the butts of my wing right there in front. And we'll leave just that much there where we're going to tie it in. And that's going to give us a nice clean head. So we're still pinching. We're going to come right in and slide it right on top. And if you get a fiber like that one that's loose, grab it and get it out of there. And leave those fibers right at the hook eye, the end of them. And we're going to come up with our thread and do 2 loose wraps just to help control it there. A lot of times the material will slide away from you, so I come in with my finger, straighten it back up, and I'll really hold it with this finger when I go to tighten down. Again, tighten straight down. There we go, and that really will lock that in. Nice. So I'll come in, I'll do 2 more, and pull down just to make sure. There we go. Now that head's locked in there, and you can see how we've already created our head and our wing all in one process. And all we have left here to do now is to do a whip finish or a half hitch. I like doing the half hitch. Come in, there we go. And once you do 2 or 3 of those, you can cut off your thread. And again, always support your dry fly hook. You can see how much it gets pulled around. Here we go. Then we'll put a little head cement on there. And away you go. A lot of people like to have their wing really flat. You can always trim off your hackle fibers on top if you need to. That's about it. Go out, fish it, cast it up, strip it, dead drift it. Caddis are a really fun hatch to fish. Thanks again for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.